A new documentary entitled The Greatest Love Story Never Told follows pop superstar Jennifer Lopez behind the scenes of her self-funded feature-length film called This Is Me... Now, a play on her album from 2 decades ago called This Is Me... Then. We can already tell that this world-famous actress and kind of singer is multi-talented, meaning she can think of terrible titles. J-Lo describes This Is Me Now as not really an autobiography, not really a musical, and also not really a long-form music video, which movie studios described as not really too many things, also not really worth their investment, and which audiences are now referring to as not really worth watching, if you can help it. That being said, Jennifer Lopez is still in the spotlight these days, but it's more like a negative spotlight, like the kind you would find attached to a police car when they're looking at you for the violent gun crime you were involved with in the 1990s. Meanwhile, the internet is mercilessly mocking the superstar for her out-of-touch comments in this documentary, as well as past stories of her interacting with the public and her frequent yet foolhardy attempts to reconvince the public that she's really just a humble, normal person who grew up in the Bronx. That would be like me trying to convince everybody that I'm really just a normal, humble person who grew up in New Hampshire, when everybody in that whole state could always see that I'm very gay and special, and also delusional, which is why I never bothered to learn basic traffic laws. They don't apply to me. Time to steel your nerves for this poorly titled documentary and watch J-Lo put up her own cash for this poorly titled movie so that we can break down her most cringeworthy instances of having a bad attitude, her egocentric movie concept that is as generic as it is expensive, and her loyal team members slash best friends who are all too close to the situation to realize how embarrassing their boss is being. So quiet on the set, because it's time for a Jenny from the Block behind the scenes installment of Clip Breakdown. Hello, television viewers. My name is Nick. Thank you so much for joining me once again on my channel for another installment of Clip Breakdown. This is the playlist where we dive into our favorite movies, TV movies, and other such content here on the web, and we break it down like a movie studio crushing the dreams of a legacy artist so that we can look at each individual moment and conflict of the creation of a project and determine whether that was a sign that the movie should have never been made, or an underdog beating the odds and showing the world that yes, their art still feels artistic, even though it never really did. But before we get into it, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. That way I know that you want to see even more content from J-Lo like this. She's been on one recently. Also, most importantly, if you're new here, I would love to have you click that subscribe button. Also, if you've been watching for a while but haven't subscribed, it's honestly such a big help to me, and it's totally supportive and encouraging in more ways than I can explain when you click that subscribe button. Also, hit notifications if you want to be like right on the money when I upload. But let's just dig in here to this documentary film experience, which was being created by Jennifer Lopez, I believe in 2022, when this all went into production. You can tell people aren't wearing masks. We were coming out of COVID. And J-Lo had recently completed her newest album called This Is Me... Now. I think I mentioned it, but her album that she last remembers working on was like 20 years ago called This Is Me... Then. I didn't understand the title of that album. I don't care for the title of this one. And also, from what I hear of that music, I don't like the music on the album either. It's a lot. You may have seen on YouTube and other places recently, Jenny Lopez, I'll call her Jennifer out of respect. Jennifer has been called out plenty of times for using a lot of ghost vocals, meaning like Ashanti can be heard singing her song with Ja Rule. Like the chorus of most of her songs on her earlier albums are not really her singing. She famously just sang over the demo vocalist. And I'm not saying it's because she has no natural ability as a singer herself. I'm not gonna say it. I'm gonna not say it. I'm gonna point out that I didn't say it. Anyway, those days are obviously over, and this whole project, This Is Me Now, and its making of documentary are meant to give us a peek into J-Lo's life and show us that, no, she's a real artist. Just like Lady Gaga, just like Picasso, just like Leonardo da Vinci, she invented the helicopter. I'm not sure how successful either or any of these three bodies of work are. This Is Me Then, the album, the movie, or this documentary. Frankly, I think it was all a marketing mishap. I didn't even know a lot of this stuff was coming out. And frankly, again, there's 2 Franks in the room, and they're both telling me not to buy tickets to this tour. She's had to cancel some of her tour stops because of low ticket sales. People are complaining about the $400 prices for really bad seats. Like, people are paying more than they did to go see Beyonce, who's like a highly in-demand artist. So it all just contributes to J-Lo looking a little out of touch, and it doesn't help that there are many stories online of her being rude to people. I know just living in the LA area, I've had like people who work as painters or muralists, or they work in private residences in some capacity, telling me that, oh, I got fired because I was told not to look her in the eye, and then when she walked through the kitchen and I just looked up at her and then went back to work, someone came up to me and let her know I could go home, like I was fired. I was like, at the time, that's gotta be an exaggeration, that can't be true. But then I heard so many stories that are saying the exact same thing. She's not known to be nice to the little people out here in Hollywood land, and yet she's still trying to capitalize on her lore of being Jenny from the block, meaning she grew up with humble beginnings from the Bronx, and no matter how big she makes it, don't be fooled by the rocks that she got, she's still Jenny from the block. That could not prove to be less true, and a behind the scenes documentary didn't do her any favors, but she's not gonna hear any of that honest, sage advice from the people she works with, because apparently everyone's just trying to earn a check, and she's fronting full big budget movie money to make this. But Jenny Ulfer also clearly saw success in other artists like Prince with Purple Rain, Beyonce with Lemonade, Rihanna with whatever. Like, these visual albums have done well for several big name artists in the past, but that was because they were at the height of their culture sort of relevancy, which cannot be said of Jennifer Lopez at this moment in time. I mean, she's getting made fun of a lot, so that's kind of relevant, but let's just let the news story let us know, give us some exposition for the rest of the documentary.
Pop superstar Jennifer Lopez has new music on the way. J-Lo celebrated the 20th anniversary of her hit album, This Is Me Then, by announcing a new project called This Is Me Now.
Jennifer, did you think of that all by yourself? Actually, never mind, I can tell that you did. But why am I surprised? I mean, you're a genius. In fact, I think we'll see a lot of other artists stealing this idea from you in the coming year for all of their anniversary releases of decades-old pop albums. I can practically hear the cheesy staged radio announcer now. Did you love Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA? Well, get ready for his latest album, Died in North Korea. Alanis Morissette is also following up her hit record, Jagged Little Pill, with new release, Big Smooth Suppository. Yellow Submarine is now Blue Land Vehicle. Self-titled album Taylor Swift is now Taylor Slow. And if Amy Winehouse were still with us, we'd no doubt see Back to Black become Still White. Not to be confused with the sad song that Ariana Grande wrote in 2016 about washing off her spray tan. You wouldn't know it from the marketing because this movie was mismarketed, as was the album itself. It's all about J-Lo's current relationship with Ben Affleck, her on-again, off-again ex-husband, who I guess we're supposed to be like believing in miracles again now that they got back together, instead of just like being aware that codependent couples exist. But anyway, obviously Ben has to make an appearance in this as well.
It's the greatest love story never told, and if you're making a record about it, that seems kind of like telling it.
Whoa, Ben Affleck, don't overthink this, okay? That was J-Lo's #1 rule when writing the script for this movie, because as she keeps having to explain to people, it's not a music video, it's not a movie musical. It falls somewhere in between. And no, that doesn't make sense, which is why it makes perfect sense that you're having trouble making perfect sense of how perfect this idea is in every sense, okay? This isn't Good Will Hunting, Mr. Director, so stop trying to make it all well-written and entertaining. Jennifer came up with this grand concept solely thanks to the unconditionally positive feedback of her friends and family who are all afraid of her, motivated by her desire to sell out one last stadium tour for an uninteresting album so that she can spend another 2 decades getting married, buying diamonds, and sing-talking about how often her husband rails her. Quite literally, she is fueled by the rocks that she's got. She's still riding dick and cock.
Dick and cock. Like, I'm just like, oh my God.
New lyric for you. Seriously, this album has songs where she's like, he slips it inside of me. It's full of jizz. Like, it's too much. It's hypersexual, and it's like, sweetheart, you have 8-year-old kids and a back problem. We gotta move on. But once again, apparently at some point earlier in the pre-production process, she had big studios backing her, willing to invest in this project. Not forever, but I mean, how could you not get on board with a concrete definition of what the film is going to be like this?
It's not anything that's been done before. It's not quite a long form music video, and it's not quite a movie. It's somewhere in between.
Yeah, we heard you, sweetheart. Are you not hearing how that doesn't make it sound like something people would want to watch? She said, it's something that's completely outside the realm of what audiences are even asking for. Something that's difficult to describe and therefore difficult to market successfully. Why would any movie studio not want to get behind me on this? Sis, I don't even think your own dance studio is fully behind you on this. After every rehearsal for this movie, we lose another 3 girls to that new Cirque du Soleil show where the whole cast has to light themselves on fire every night. Because to a working dancer, that production feels like less of a risk to their career than this one. For a show whose opening night only had a 40% survival rate. It's almost always a bad sign when an artist says that they're doing something so new that it defies explanation. Like, well, make a reference, sweetheart. Give me an elevator pitch. Like, how would you masterfully execute such an ambitious project if you can't even combine the right adjectives and nouns to let people know what's so special about it? Think of something. Otherwise, you'll go into the movie confused and blabbering, which is how I feel this whole thing is. Like, they're describing the script like it opens with a bunch of factory workers, including our hot 28-year-old diva who works at a factory where they're feeding flower petals to a big mechanical heart, and she lives in a glass apartment, and there's songs that were rearranged to kind of fit this story. Like, I already feel like you wrote this at age 12 and you didn't have a good creative writing teacher to kind of give you the feedback that you needed to hear. And now that's my job. I'm your creative writing teacher. Come hang out with me at lunch, gay kids. But you go out to hang out with the cool kids, J-Lo, because she gives off mean girl vibes a couple times in this movie. I think it's made to sound a little worse on TikTok than it is in this actual movie, although there are some moments. And after hearing the stories of the way she treats waiters and service industry people, or anybody in the general public when it's not like a fan at a concert interaction, it sounds like she's a real pill. But let me just pause for a minute because I'm actually getting a little warm in here. I must have something hot that I need to reveal. Oh, that's right. It's the Toast collection. This has been a long time coming. This collection is my first ever new merch drop in over 2 years, and I am so excited to present to you this all new selection of amazing apparel and accessories, all featuring this adorable portrait of my sweet Pomeranian Toast, made exclusively for me by an iconic Palm Springs artist and a dear friend of mine, Trevor Wayne, who actually created this design well over 1 year ago. And it's taken me a while to play around with the different colors and variations and color blocking styles to find pieces that I would like to wear on a daily basis, and hopefully you will as well. You've got your standard merch items like stickers, I have the pint glass, and of course the mug of my sweet toastiest of toastess with the mostest dog in her toastiest form, a piece of toast. I think that this portrait looks exactly like her, and I'm so excited that now I get to wear her in this premium color block hoodie. This took a lot of iterations for me to come up with the right colorway for it and the right placement of the different color blocks themselves. And the best part is these matching color block joggers that will only be available until April 30th. Definitely pick up a pair before they're gone forever due to supply issues. You of course have a selection of different colors in premium hoodies and sweatshirts and t-shirts so that you can enjoy Toast's beautiful face every day if you feel like it. But because of the joy and whimsy that Toast brings to my life, I wanted to really feature some cool colors in this collection. First of all, this royal blue zip up. I love this color on me. It looks so good. And on you too, I bet. But you'll also find my first ever merch line with tie-dye items like this embroidered hat. This particular dad hat, also limited edition until the 30th. And then you'll see some other hat options coming to the table. There's this crossbody bag or fanny pack, if you feel like saying that, which I absolutely love. The tie-dye makes it so special to me, using, of course, what I think of and will forever hold in my heart as colors of the trans flag. And there are several other color block options that you're not seeing here. This is the color block t-shirt, one of the best sellers so far. That will be here to stay. But in any case, if you're interested in checking out any of the new items on offer here, then make sure you visit nickdiramio.store. That way you can see the new collection in its entirety, and also use the code TEAMTOAST. That will save you money on your order, and I can't wait to see what you pick. Make sure you tag me when you get your product, and I will make sure to reshare them. I'm proud of this collection, and I'm so excited to see you wear it. Woo! Anyway, now that that's been revealed, let's get back into the greatest love story never told. Or as I like to think of it, the most boring story that didn't need to be told, yet still was for some reason. Here's a little supercut of all of Jennifer's most diva antics throughout the production of the movie, or at least in this documentary. And this is the stuff that she would have approved because she doesn't think it makes her look that bad.
You're just being dramatic, Kate, so I don't necessarily...
Be quiet, sweetie.
Want to go and fix it.
Do that then.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Maybe you want to go talk to him over there and talk about it.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you right now, do not bother me while we're shooting. Don't
do it. It's gonna be a bad idea.
And on JLo's movie, JLo is the only person allowed to have bad ideas. And if anyone takes that away from her, she will snap at you and glare behind your back from behind her blinged out Starbucks sipper like a bratty teenager. I understand that making a movie is stressful, and I understand JLo, after losing the support of her major studio, has decided to self-fund this movie, which means she's putting $30 million of her own money into this. That's gonna make some people testy. Just for context, that's almost 14% of her entire estimated net worth of $400 million. And I just can't even understand how difficult it must be to be in that situation. Like, imagine knowing that no matter what happens, you haven't spent enough to even marginally affect your lifestyle. Going to sleep at night knowing that you and your children are completely taken care of for the rest of their lives. Like, who knows, under those conditions, I might also snap at my gay line producer for not knowing how to make electricity happen. But the trick is to not electively capture that high stakes drama in the behind the scenes documentary that you had intended to show the world how down to earth you are. What a relatable queen of artistic merit you happen to be. We don't need to see behind the scenes, just maybe let the art speak for itself, if it can, which it can't. But still, try. It's still a better choice. This is definitely what I would define as cursed content. And I would know, my family's bloodline has been cursed for generations. Acne-prone skin, clinical depression, and everyone's favorite, hair loss. Luckily, that is a curse I am fighting hard to break thanks to the sponsor of today's video, Keeps. With Keeps, you get professional care for hair loss in the comfort of your own home without ever having to visit a doctor's office or a pharmacy, which is honestly so helpful because not only do I not have the time to go to a doctor's office, but the harder it is for me to get my hair loss care, the less likely I am to stick to a routine where consistency is really going to get me the best result, and I'm so grateful to have started with Keeps. For most of my life, hair loss was something that I've heard other people talk about, but never really did it sink in that it was something that would affect my self-esteem at some point. But then I start to hit my 30s and really see like a receding hairline, and I think to myself, oh my gosh, probably something I'm sure other people can relate to, especially since male pattern baldness is a genetic condition that affects 2 out of 3 men by the time that they're 35. And there are similar statistics across the board for all humans. But Keeps makes it super convenient to get the treatment you need. You just complete an online consultation to get matched with a provider, and if it's medically appropriate, they will tailor a treatment plan for you to address any and all hair loss concerns. These are licensed medical providers, specially trained in hair loss. Then the treatment is delivered right to your door on a schedule, with the flexibility of 3, 6, or 12-month delivery options. I say go for the 12. I like being stocked up and having everything I need every month. But in any case, you can adjust, pause, or cancel your plan at any time. You might be looking to prevent hair loss like I am, stimulate new hair growth, or just take good care of the hair that's already on a beautiful head. No matter what, Keeps has you covered. Keeps offers both of the FDA-approved hair loss treatments, as well as a 2-in-1 treatment that combines both formulas. Pow pow, pow 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 pow. And I especially love that Keeps also offers this thickening shampoo, conditioner, and styling pomade. They perfectly complement the treatment plan so that I can get my hair looking full and healthy on a day-to-day basis right away while the treatment starts to go to work. Most people see an improvement in their hair in as little as 6 months after starting. I'm so glad I get to give up my drugstore styling pomade. These ones all have a special formula designed by hair loss experts as well. They support healthy hair and healthy hair growth using natural science-backed ingredients like biotin, caffeine, green tea, and saw palmetto. I used to work for a hair care brand, and those were all like the most important ingredients in any product we release. These ones are expert approved. With over 5,000 5-star reviews, I feel good knowing that Keeps is well trusted, helping over 1 million men experiencing hair loss over the last 6 years. And again, they have customers across the gender identity spectrum. These products were delivered in discreet, non-branded packaging, and as part of your plan, you can message your Keeps care team anytime, 24/7, through their secure messaging portal. We love that. And I love that Keeps gave me a custom offer just for you. Thanks to Keeps for sponsoring today's video and for the free product. Hair loss stopped with Keeps. For a special offer to get started, go to keeps.com/NickDiRamio or click the link in my description. That's keeps.com/NickDiRamio. Individual results may vary. Jane Fonda, who is in the movie but not in a lead role like JLo originally wanted, is seen on the phone in these earlier parts being like, I think that doing this documentary is going to give people a little too close of a look to how the sausage is made, and you don't need that. And I think it's very obviously true. It's like, not only does JLo not need to prove that she's a nice person, like another YouTuber, Honest, who has really good opinions on music, I feel, had pointed out that, you know, like Mariah Carey is not branding herself as this nice person, but is still a well-respected, as it's called in that video, legacy artist. JLo is trying to do something else by like staying up with Gen Z and TikTok and like letting the kids know she's still hip, charging Beyonce prices. Like, that's not it. And I haven't seen the full movie yet, but apparently Apparently, just from the script you can tell that it's not gonna do well. Not only because the studio's all backed out because movie musicals aren't selling, but also because none of the people that she's asked to be in it, all big name Hollywood stars, none of them are agreeing to do this, and it's rough to watch.
Taylor Swift is a no.
Jason Momoa's not available. Jennifer Coolidge not available. Lizzo not available. Ariana Grande's unavailable. Snoop's not available, unfortunately.
Do you want Vanessa Hudgens, by the way? I was thinking about that.
It's a wedding, babe. He's in a wedding. I mean,
Whose wedding?
Unfortunately, it's where it's landing.
I want you to call him.
Okay.
Khloe Kardashian.
She's making a cameo?
No.
Oh, it was supposed to be. Got you.
Wow, so there's a lot to unpack here. Jennifer understandably starts to get concerned because every celebrity in Hollywood says no to making a cameo in the movie. But what concerns me even more is that there is so much room in this movie for cameos. Is it just J-Lo in the lead role, co-starring with a giant horde of nameless characters who each shout out individual lines? Seems like they wrote this to get as many different stars in it as possible so that those stars would all promote it. And if this were a big cultural revolution moment like she had clearly planned for it to be, there would be way more reach because of all the different fan bases that would have to clamor to see it. She literally wants every famous person to be in it except for Vanessa Hudgens. She was like, do I want Vanessa Hudgens? Ew, no, for what? As like designated toilet person who we forced to live inside the toilet, like to fix any clogs that might happen during the shoot? Like what? Because she's not playing one of my bridesmaids in the 30th wedding scene that I've written into the movie. Also, I love her not understanding how someone could prioritize their friend's wedding over making a 2-second appearance in her movie. And that's Derek Huff they're talking about. Of course he's gonna take the wedding. He's got the personality of a best man pretty much full time. He's dressed like a wedding guest every single time I've seen him on the air. Why would he pass that up, J-Lo? But you know, the casting requests go out. Almost everybody says no, but obviously they fill the role with some celebrity cameos and some nobodies, some actors who are gonna take no salary because she's trying to not pay anybody, I imagine, for this movie other than the crew. 30 million is not a lot for a movie, especially not one of this scale when you see the locations and the amount of cameras they have on set, the amount of shooting days that they do at these grand locations, the art direction. It's pretty respectable. To see so many bad movies that have low budgets and suffer because of their low budget in this line of work, it's pretty upsetting to see this high budget movie in service of such a low quality story. Like, sweetheart, if a major movie studio who have entire teams of people dedicated to understanding whether something is going to be financially accessible or not, if they're not gonna back it, you should not bet on yourself in this case. They say, like, the number one rule in Hollywood is never make a movie with your own money. And J-Lo's like, well, I break all the rules, such as publishing music that I didn't sing. You think I'm gonna let that stop me? I'm still Jenny from the honk. Honk, honk. But you also get some vulnerable moments with her. If I hadn't seen other TikToks about how rude she is to people in real life, I would feel for her more during these vulnerable kind of segments. But it's also hard because I hate watching people talk while they eat.
Nobody else could make me see that. About myself. It's very moving.
Yeah, you really seem to be moving that ball of chewed up food around the inside of your mouth. Madam Sadness over here. Do you have any crying scenes like this in the movie you're making? And if so, can we at least shoot those at a time when you're not in the middle of eating a turkey wrap? Thank you so much. I am not a fan of Jennifer Lopez. I've liked several of her movies and I grew up with her music being what was on the radio. I also remember her being like the Kim Kardashian of the time. Everyone was talking about her bootay, even though by today's standard it's like, what bootay? Did you sit on a hot iron and flatten that fucker out? Flat. I'm just kidding. No, I would never say that. But in comparison to the BBL days of today, it wouldn't get the same press, this body shape. Not that people deserve press or not based on the shape of their bodies. I'm just telling you what was in the zeitgeist back in 2003 when none of you were born. Raise your hand if you were born in 2003, make me feel better. Anyway, Jennifer, she's not immune to the potential for negative criticism once this movie comes out. Probably cemented by the fact that she may lose $30 million on the venture.
Didn't even have to make the record. It's not like anybody's clamoring for the next J-Lo record. You know what I mean?
We do. We really do know what you mean. Doesn't sound like anyone was clamoring to fix those hair extensions for you before we got on camera today either, were they? But neither of those things stopped what we're seeing on screen right now from happening, so rock on, Senorita Giggles. This proves that Jennifer does have the self-awareness that she's less in demand as an artist, but unfortunately, she also has the overconfidence in her ability to wiggle her way back into our hearts like it's 2004. Well, trends have changed, Jennifer, and nowadays, the only thing I'm letting wiggle into my heart are the parasitic worms that I got from eating dog food. Wait, is having heartworms still trendy for humans? What about eating dog food? Neither of them ever were? Damn. This is why my family warned me not to let that sick dog be my life coach. But to me, it just made sense. We clicked. I'm also easily excited. I also get really bad ear infections, and I often find myself shitting outside. But yeah, I guess I just have parasites for no reason now. Life is tough. I feel just as bad as J-Lo does in this scene. But anyway, production does start. The dancers are dancing. Their movie is movieing. It seems like they're really rushing. They have an aggressive shooting schedule, and none of what I'm seeing them shoot is letting me know this is going to be an original piece, except for maybe some references to what I believe are some controversial moments from J-Lo's past.
What are you guys doing here?
It's an intervention.
Is this a scene where she finally has her friends tell her that she needs to stop playing characters in their 20s? Oh, no, this is just her 20-something character's troublesome phase. Dating bad boys and smoking ciga drugs. Why does every scene in this movie that I've seen in this documentary feel like a carbon copy of every other movie that's ever sucked before? God, I want to watch it so bad. Do you think I should? Let me know in the comments if you want to see me break down the movie itself.
My bad. Sorry about that. Okay, it's all right. I got a license. Don't worry.
Someone needs to tell that guy that his license to carry a gun did not specifically say that he had to carry it floating loosely between his pants and his underwear. In fact, most weapons experts only recommend that method of carrying for advanced gun owners, or those who really love shooting off their genitals. But I gotta say, that's one area where most ladies deplore an accidental discharge. Sorry, I just feel like Mae West needs a few more quotes about ejaculation for this disgusting BuzzFeed article I'm working on. Why don't you cover me in semen sometime? See, like, what? Who am I even writing this for? What a weird use of my time. I have a feeling this shady character with the gun pants is J-Lo's vague reference to her 1999 arrest after allegedly being involved in a nightclub shooting with P. Diddy, who is notoriously gonna get arrested or has already been arrested and is under federal investigation for organized crime, trafficking, and other alleged acts of horror committed throughout his career. Jennifer Lopez is also thought to be back in the hot seat from when they were publicly dating, at which time she was reportedly the one holding the weapon used in that nightclub shooting and who produced it for Diddy immediately before it was fired. But I don't think this topic was really being discussed with much relevancy at the time that this movie was shot. Otherwise, she probably would have just cut the scene. But of course, J-Lo had to show us who she really is. She's not cool and her movie's a flop. She's still Jenny with the Glock. Speaking of being from the block, Jenny Lopez, one of the biggest and most hilarious things that people on TikTok are making fun of right now are her frequent attempt at reminding us of her hard upbringing. You know, she's from the Bronx, and that's a big part of her brand. It's a big part of her lore is that she's still a humble, regular girl's girl, even though she's rich and famous now. Although, when's the last time you went back to the Bronx? What do you do to support the people of the Bronx with your great wealth? What do you do other than just find the most inopportune moments to remind us that you're from the Bronx? To dig yourself out of moments when you're maybe being a little less than down to earth about it all? Here's one such example from the documentary.
I like taking my hair out like this. It reminds me like when I was 16 in the Bronx. Running up and down the block. A crazy little girl who used to be wild and no limits, all dreams and shit.
That's why her hair is so big. It's full of dreams and shit. People online were understandably having a little trouble understanding how and why simply taking her hair down suddenly reminds her of living in the Bronx as a child and running up and down that famed block that she's still from. I just wish I lived in an alternate reality where she makes the same inauthentic, far-reaching reference to her backstory, except this is the hairstyle in question. Having my hair up like this, it reminds me when I was like 8 years old living in the Bronx, wrapping my hair around a water bottle, just a crazy hair day at my elementary school, you know? So wild, raising money for Meals on Wheels, no limits, just square-shaped pizza in the cafeteria and shit. Like, okay, ma'am, I just asked if you wanted your receipt in the bag, but I guess not. Where did that come from, sweetheart? And that's only one of several clips that have been taken of J-Lo and repurposed on TikTok, added to her growing portfolio of on-camera moments that make the I'm Real branding seem out of touch and a little less than authentic. There's one interview where someone asks what her typical bodega order is, and she's basically like, sandwich. On bread. Bread sandwich with the side of bread. And then major liquids to wash it down. Orange liquid? If you know, you know. I'm like, did this bitch grow up drinking antifreeze? But my all-time favorite is another response from that same interview.
So everyone knows I'm walking here. What's something else that real New Yorkers say?
You.
At first I thought, that's aggressive of you to always say real New Yorkers, but then I had to ask myself what were the prior events real New Yorkers had experienced leading up to such a strong reaction. And then I remembered, also because of TikTok, that there are men just walking around that city and randomly punching women in the face as a punishment, I think, for being women, despite those men themselves being guilty of the even worse crime of being men. If I'm in that situation, what, am I not gonna say, F you, forget about it, I'm still Jenny from the block, you. I love that they, in this question, make it seem like I'm walking here is something that all New Yorkers say. Like, it was just Robert De Niro playing an unstable person in that one movie. And JLo's like, stereotypes, got it. I love to eat sandwich. As I said, this movie is about Jennifer's like famed serial marriage history. I don't even think I knew that JLo got married for so many times. 4 times I think she's got married. That never once crossed my mind when I think of JLo, but to her, in her world, apparently that's all we think about when we think of her, is like, married so many times, oh my god. So she's trying to show us that she's in on the joke, which I'm like, there is no joke. If there was a joke, it's not funny. Where's the joke, dummy? But that's what she's talking about in this scene when she gets another true authentic Bronx resident in the scene with her playing therapist.
Why is love so damn hard?
You know, some people use these impassioned relationships to avoid facing a much greater hurt. Have you ever considered being alone for a minute?
And I would like to add, have you ever considered casting anyone other than Fat Joe in a Bill Cosby sweater to play the psychiatrist in your movie? It's not that I think that people who look or act like Fat Joe can't also be professional and emotionally intelligent. It's just that specifically, it does not seem like Fat Joe has done the work he needed to do to get on camera and transform into Dr. Fat Joseph, licensed marriage and family counselor. But Jennifer, you're doing great, sweetie. You may not have sung much on any of your records, except for this latest one, which sucked, but you've always been a pretty solid actress in your roles as hot lady with a service level existence. Throughout the movie, we're like on the cliffhanger of will Jane Fonda agree to be in this movie? The answer is no, not as a lead role, but at this point, JLo's just taking what she can get.
Jay, any day you can do it. Any day you can spare 2 hours, one for hair and makeup and one to come and do the lines. It will take that long.
Super uncomfortable begging there, Jenny. I love the way you put Jane Fonda on the spot in your last conversation before she changes her phone number. Jane Fonda is surprisingly the most relatable subject in this entire documentary for me, because I also have thinning hair. No, I also have a problem saying no to people. And instead, I have to make my answer known by either avoiding the topic or using extremely defensive body language. Just know that if you ever ask me for something and I respond by saying, then it's time for you to move on to your alternate choice for completing that task at hand. Because if you force me any further along in the process, you will become the target of a level of passive-aggressive resentment so baffling that I'm not sure you will even survive getting the thing that you asked me for. Like, you're gonna be wondering what you did wrong the whole time, even though it's my fault for not communicating. I'm working on it, kind of, sometimes. Depends on the person and the situation. That's why I suggested not asking me. See, I'm doing it already to you. I don't like the uncomfortable conversation, so yes, I'll do your shitty movie. Please, cast me. Cast me. I'm not Jane Fonda in this moment. I'm someone desperate for attention. So there's that. But yeah, if you need to ask me to move, I'll probably say yes unless you're like, you seem like busy. And I'll be like, oh, thank you for seeing that and not making me have to tell you directly. The one thing that I can't get over when they show me this documentary, I'm like, first of all, if it's such a struggle with the low budget, why are they licensing like Queen songs? Why are they licensing all of this high budget music? I guess that's probably after Amazon bought it, but I don't know. But the rest of the music, the original music from JLo herself, I'm like, oh no. We hear it. We hear that it's you, sweetie. This line must be referencing to how we're basically getting JLo's first ever album where she's actually singing lead instead of just sort of talking in the background over the demo vocalist. So proud of you, Jenny. It sounds like you're really trying. Anyway, have a good night. Demo vocalist, please come back. We miss you. God, every song hurt since you left. Oh my God, we'll pay you anything. Oh, hi, Jenny. Oh, she's come back. She's gonna sing a ballad now. Ben Affleck is like directing some of the interviews for this, and I'm like, this is lowering his star power too. He appears at the end of it, and they don't know if anyone's gonna buy the movie in the first place, but yeah, it happens. And they get to put a nice little bow on this documentary, which is unfortunately usurped by the critical reception that we now know has occurred.
So what happened? Did you sell it?
It could not have gone better. It was crazy.
And at the end of the day, someone bought it.
And that's why all of us can watch it right now in theaters that play free movies from Amazon Prime for some reason. Or just watch it at your house. Or don't. Just don't watch it at all. They say it's really bad. But hey, Jenny, someone bought it. She's still JennyAmazonPrime.com. Oof, we lost the rhyme scheme there at the end, but hey, thank you so much for joining me to break down the greatest love story never told. Should I cover the full movie of This Is Me ... Let me know in the comments below. Also give this video a big thumbs up if you want to see me cover even more out of touch celebrity content and movies and stuff like this. Most importantly, again, if you're new here, I would love to have you click that subscribe button right over here. It keeps me going, fuels my whole block. The whole block is out here cheering for me when you tap that button. So hit subscribe, turn on notifications. I've got merch. My new Toast merch collection is now available at DiRamio.store. So check out those pieces if you want to get in and represent Toastess being the mostest. I've also got a Patreon with exclusive extras. You guys are all the greatest. Thank you so much for seeing me ... now tonight. You guys are all